And one thing everybody needs to understand is nobody is coming for help. At least that's the way you should be thinking. There's nobody coming for help. When the hurricanes hit and there's millions of people that need help, they're not coming to you. And you need to understand that. And I think most homesteaders or preppers do understand that. And that's kind of the reason they do what they do. You can see the response of our federal government, and it's just, I'm going to give you $750. That's laughable. How far is $750 going to get you when you've lost everything? But what you need to understand is, if you're still there, you have to be able to depend on yourself and your neighbors and the people around you, because nobody's coming. The government's not big enough to help that many people, and they're not going to. And so you need to be ready when it comes to take care of yourself and your community, because help is not on the way. One thing I want to point out about help is this. If you're depending on the government to help you, you're in very bad shape. Now that's whether there's a disaster or there's no disaster. If you're ever dependent on the government to help you, then you're in bad shape. And the reason that is because the government is not what's supposed to be helping. The government is supposed to help in disasters, but I'm talking about in normal life, the government is not the ones that should be helping. It should be the churches and the communities. And you look at these disasters, who's there first? Samaritan's Purse, the North Carolina Baptist, the churches are the ones there first. Always at these disasters, the church is always there first. Whenever Katrina hit in Mississippi, the church was there first. Now the church gets a bad name, but when the time comes and disaster hits, the cross and the people of the cross, the little Christ, the Christians, they're the ones that are there to help pick up the pieces for the most part. The government comes in, they throw a bunch of money at it, they do a little bit for a few months, and then they're gone. But what your mindset needs to be is that nobody's coming. And you need to think that now before the disaster hits. You need to think nobody's going to come when the disaster hits. You got to at least make it a week. I mean, after a week, you might get some help in there. But if you're on top of a mountain, or if you're trapped somewhere where the roads are gone, you're not getting any help. You got to make it a week, minimum, before anybody shows up. And they may not even show up for a week. But that's the mindset you need to have, and that's the lesson that you should take away from these hurricanes. There's people that weren't ready, and then they don't have anything. But also there's another lesson, is no matter how much you prepare, and this may sound contradictory, but no matter how much you prepare, everything can get washed away in a matter of seconds. Like the storm can just take it all. And so that's where that community comes in again, as I talked about in another episode, is if your neighbor's house didn't get blown away, or your house didn't get blown away, you got to work together with your neighbors and help them out. It may be that they stay with you for a little while until they can get back on their feet, or you stay with them for a little while until you can get back on your feet. That's why it's important to have that sense of community, because those churches in the areas, they need to take care of each other, because probably everybody didn't lose everything, but there's some places that maybe so. It was bad. So you need to be prepared mentally that you could lose everything. Now that's not, again, that doesn't mean we walk around worrying all the time. Stuff is stuff. But for those people that got hit, I mean, they lost everything. And I encourage you to give to Samaritan's Purse, or good organizations that you know are going to do good with the money. Don't just give to anybody to make yourself feel good, because some people are scammed. The biggest scams are run during these natural disasters. So give to places like Samaritan's Purse, or to the churches that are helping in the area. People that you know are going to use the money for good. But for yourself, you need to understand that nobody's coming, and the community around you is what's going to take care of you. Don't think the government is going to come. Realistically, they can't help everybody. Now, they could do better than they've done, but they can't help everybody. And so, in your mind, don't be the one saying, where's the government? Be the one who, when they come up there to help you, you're like, nah, I'm good. Go help my neighbor. Be the one that's prepared. Again, that doesn't mean we sit around and worry about things happening. That just means we're prepared. If you live in a way where, let's just say you live off firewood, well, you always got firewood ready for the next winter. You should be good. If you live in a way where you're living, you got enough food for a month or two, you should be good. If you got some water saved up, or you got a creek on your property, you should be good. Those essentials are going to keep you for a month at least. And then after that, you may have to find some food and groceries and all that. But if you got enough for a month, you should be good in most of these natural disasters. But nobody's coming to help. And that's even in life. I mean, look, on normal everyday life, there are people that are dependent on the government. Well, they're not living. I mean, we say, well, there's so many people on the government, but those people are not living. They're just, every month they got to depend on some government check. That's not living. So maybe the government will help if you get broke enough. Well, nobody wants to be in that situation. So don't depend on the government to help, because they're not coming. They're not going to help. So you need to get yourself self-sufficient where you're not dependent on anybody to come and help, because they're not coming. And the quicker you realize that they're not coming and you get yourself ready, the better off you and your family are going to be. It can be fun getting this stuff ready. It can be fun planting a garden, cutting firewood, doing those things. It's just the simple things that get you ready. I mean, you don't have to be the type of person that lives completely off the land like the Amish do. You don't have to do that. If you got a month or two worth of food, you got a winter's worth of firewood, you got a garden planted in the summer, you're good. It's not like you have to be able to go without electricity, without internet, without TV. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. Now, I know a lot of people want to do completely off the grid, but I'm not going to be that type of homesteader, because I had an aunt who grew up at a time where she had no microwave, no running water, no electricity, and she would be what I would consider an off-the-grid homesteader in modern time. And she said, everybody talks about the good old days, and she said, I like my running water, I like my microwave, I like my toilet that's in the house. She said, they weren't good old days, they were hard. And so I know some people want to be completely off the grid and all that, but I'm not that way. I'm going to have lights, and I'm going to have things that make you comfortable in life, whether it be a microwave, an oven, things like that, that my granddaddy, they didn't have that. But they had it when they could get it. They didn't go without it when they could get it. So just because you have those things don't mean you're not a prepared or a homesteader. It just means that you're more of a modern homesteader, which is what I would consider myself, a modern homesteader. I mean, I go buy groceries at Walmart. I'm not going to grow everything or make everything myself, but we need to try to get as self-sufficient as possible to where when tragedy hits, we can just turn the switch. I don't have to go to Walmart. I can go fishing in the pond and eat what's out of the pond. I can go hunting for a deer. I can do these different things that I can just turn the switch on and do it today. So be ready, because nobody's coming.